Okay, hello, my people. Welcome to my channel once more. This time around, I'll be talking about corner kicks. You know, corners. This the fragment of or the component of the game that people overlook sometimes. Um, sometimes it's good for you to include it in your games. Let's say you have 12 games and you've played 10, just include two corner kicks there. I'm assuring you that it might enter if you know the techniques of the corner kicks, playing it. So, some of the efficient strategies you should go for in corner kicks when you're playing them. One of them, and the most important, is checking the strength and weakness between the two playing teams. Understand? So checking the strength, and check. You have to check if one of the teams is from the top or bottom of the football league. In other words, what you're saying here is that you have to check the stronger team against the weaker team, or the weaker team against the stronger team. The reason why is that's the number one rule you have to check. And when you're talking about stronger and weaker, you're talking about the difference will be too much. The gap not too much per se, but it's very obvious that you see that the stronger team is a powerhouse. This stronger team can it can put pressure to the weaker team, and the weaker team can so try, but because of fear, and sometimes they tend to pull the ball over the bar. They tend to put the ball out of safety, throwing all over towards the corner kick for the opponent to play the corner kick. So, and it just, for example, when you talk about Man City against can I say Bournemouth, or can I say, let's say Nottingham Forest, for example, or Man City against or you're playing a cup game, whereby Man City or Liverpool or is playing a League One or a championship um, a championship team, something like that. So the weaker team will most likely aim to draw instead of winning. That's their target. The weaker team will most likely aim to draw instead of winning, and um, and the stronger team will always strive to win. So that's why so that, because the weaker team have nothing to lose and the stronger team will always have everything to lose. So they will have more pressure. And when there's pressure in a game, corner kick tends to happen. Okay, so the other reason I will tell you here is checking if the weaker team is at home or the stronger team is at home. If the weaker team is at home, they would want to, let's say it is 60-40. Let's say if the weaker team is at home, they want to impress. The next 10 minutes, they will be firing to make sure they impress. So at that point, you know, maybe much might not happen, but they'll tend to get one or two corner kicks for themselves. But when after 15 minutes, 20 minutes of the game, everything settles. You find out the stronger team will come back to pace and start, But it is more. You have to consider more on the stronger teams being at home, because being at home, the weaker teams have nowhere to run to. They don't have no saving grace. They'll be pounding them. So it's just 80% that there'll be much over 8.5 in that corner kick. You understand? So these are the things you have to consider. Another thing you have to consider is another thing you have to consider is what are you going to play? What are you going to play? Are you going to play mostly, are you going to play over or under? Or are you going to play? So it depends. So the normal thing here, look at this game here, for example. Now corner kicks, the main one people play is corners over or under. That's the main one people play. And the other ones are, let's say, first half corner or second half corner. These ones are good as well, but it depending on the game you're playing it. For example, if you are playing Champions League, for example, Champions League, it's is always there that if okay if you're playing let's say if you're playing first half corner under Champions League, um first half corner under Champions League, first half, is it under over or under 4.5 or over 4.5 or under 2.5, depending on how they put it. Then the handicap, corner handicap, which is what this one, corner handicap is another one you have to play. Sometimes it enters and it has a bigger odd. For example, if you're having something like Man City play against a weaker team, if you give the weaker team plus 3.5, for example, okay, plus 3, it might enter, overall it might enter. Yeah, just it's good to risk it. It's good to risk it. So, what else? So, now another thing you have to understand is this about corner kicks is that don't play even and odd. Don't even try it to play an even and odd. Another thing you have to consider is the weather. If it's raining, consider that there will be more there are more corner kicks that day. If it's raining, if the weather is bad, it's raining. Another one is like the most important there is that you have to wait, let the game start before you start playing the corner. Understand it? So because within the 10 minutes in the game, you now have to weigh in how the game is, if the stronger team is mounting much pressure or not. So with that, you know that maybe yes, even the next 5 minutes, you know that yes, maybe yes, there will be much corner in that match. So watch the match. Okay, so I think these are then I have to tell you about some games. For example, some clubs that plays more corner kicks. Some clubs that play, like if you come to Premiership, you understand that if you place Man City, even Chelsea, against some other lower, some other like some other clubs in same Premiership, so you start considering whether over 8.5 will enter. But apart from that, don't even go into Premiership at all. There are places you go mostly. That's the secret. Now, women's women's clubs or women's football plays more corner kicks than men's club. So consider going towards that place to play to consider it. If you want to go for corner kicks, go for women's this thing. Then another place you have to go is Japan. Japan, Japan, those guys, especially if you those guys check their lower team, their lower league. They play more corner kicks. They play more corner kicks. And the lower leagues play more corner kicks than their topmost leagues. Yes, consider the lower leagues, they play more corner kicks than the topmost leagues. So consider that that's a tip I'm giving you, a big tip. And the Bundesliga, they are another distant that play more corner kicks than Bundesliga, the lower division. And we talk about La Liga Portugal, lower division. We talk about La Liga Spain, lower division. We talk about League Two France, lower division. This they play more corner kicks. So if you're considering that, these are the rules you have to consider. Sometimes, like there's a tip of advice I'm giving some people. It's not good to put your all your savings in games. Sometimes it's advisable to just stipulate, budget it. If it's the month you want to play, stipulate and say, okay, this is the most I'll bet for the month, and don't surpass it. Sometimes this thing can be addictive, that you start losing out, borrowing money. It doesn't worth it. Borrowing money to play a game doesn't worth it. So if you're a salaried person, stipulate. There's a little way I will teach you how you can play your games. If you're playing 3-4 in a day, how you can divide it, how you can play it, and out of that 4, 2 will enter. The people who pay 10, none will enter because they have not devised a means of playing it. This kind of things, you have to devise a means. You have to make up to 2, 3, 4 editings of edit each game as it is. The sure ones, you leave it. You can decide to play, let's say you can decide to play 6 games, for example. When you play 6 games, among those 6 games you are about to play, you change each one, change them, put every variable, put both corner kicks, all those things, you change them, in a way that, man, if this one will not enter, this one will enter. Don't make it a situation whereby if this one will not enter, the other one will not enter, or this one enter, this one will not enter. Make it in a way that it can enter in both four edits or 6 edits, whatever, So that's how you do it. So these are the things I might teach you next thing, or maybe when I get the research done, I'll teach you. Thanks a lot. I don't know, I would have showed you some women games here, but there's no way I can show you corner kicks of women corner kicks here. I would have used it and here. So, but the main thing you have to play is the corner over and under. That's the main one everyone play. And you go for the first corner kicks. Which one will first half and second half? I think first half and second half corner kicks, over and under also. Where is it? First half over and under. Okay, look at it. First half over and under. First half over and under. That is over 6.5. First half. Under 6.5. This is where you have to also consider in playing. First half corners over and under. First half corners over and under. This one is over 4.5. You consider this one. Second half, that's the second half. That's where you put. Then if you want to consider,
also apparently more corner kicks happen in the second half,
you know that Man City will win in this
consider that one also.
Definitely, you put Man City directly if you want, but I prefer for you to consider it over 8.5, for example. You should know that the stronger team must be there and the weaker team must be there if you want to play over 8.5. And if you want to play any other ones, that's it. That's the tactics I want you to go for it. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Please subscribe to my channel. Thanks.